Hey guys, it is Rachel Feldman. Can everyone hear me good? You can raise your hand if, all right. I love when everyone tells me yes or no. All right, awesome. Okay, so I like to keep this kind of in this kind of view because one of the things that I love to do is hop around onto Google because one of the things that I've really learned to make these kind of calls effective is to not just tell you, from my personal view on how I use programs or why, done for you programs have worked for me, but to actually show you. So, one of the things that I wanted to actually talk to you tonight about is what done for you programs have done for me, but also to kind of share with you how done for you programs have not only changed the lives of other coaches that I've seen, but how you can use them in so many different ways. I think when we think about being health coaches, we think about this online programs because that's what we hear so much. You know, build your online presence. And we don't think so much about one, our offline presence, which is our work with me, but we also don't think about how we can buy done for you programs or even programs that are possibly sitting even on our desktop, how we can market ourselves in different ways. Each one of us have niches and sub niches. Sub niches are even, the very different people that are of course, our sub niche of our niche, which is the people that we work with that have that one main category problem. But the biggest thing with marketing, and this is what we didn't expect when we became health coaches, I know I didn't even think of this, is I just thought my passion and love for health and helping people was going to be enough. I had no idea that this whole other world of trying to figure out how to market my message would need to be so powerful to be able to get people to understand what I was doing. So that's what we're really going to talk about tonight is how to use a program in multiple ways to market your message. I'm also going to share with you this aha moment that I had, and I'm 5 years into my business. This aha moment that I had in this last week and a half, 2 weeks. That was really profound. So we're going to talk about a few different things, how to market done for you programs and market in multiple ways, but also what really happened for me in this last 2 weeks that actually, got me 5 clients to sign up with me, not only one in my one-on-one business, which is, amazing to get someone to, sign up with you for a 3-month, commitment, but also how the very online programs that I have, how I'm reframing them. So just even to introduce myself, as I always, say is very important when you're talking. My name is Rachel Feldman. I am a health coach. I'm a detox specialist. I attended the Institute for Integrative Nutrition. I also went to a number of different schools for detoxification because God, I mean, this could be a long-winded thing, but I really believe that in the time that we are in right now, it's unfortunately not just about the food on your plate. As we know, we have to talk about the mindset and shifting, our beliefs in our mind and our lifestyle. But I also believe that the amount of toxins just bombarding our endocrine system, our metabolism, our bodies on a cellular level is profound. And so I do believe that we really need to go deeper in supporting that lymphatic system and the liver and each of our different organs, hence me having an autoimmune. And probably for many of you listening, you have clients who just come to you for weight gain. And I know I have clients who, once we get into weight gain, God, the layers of toxicity, of blood sugar imbalances, of sometimes even autoimmune that they didn't even realize was there, thyroid imbalances, which, I've dealt with for years that I don't show up on tests. I mean, so part of why I created these programs was that I was so scared chasing symptoms. And so I had so many people that were coming to me with all of these different health issues. cancer, hepatitis, all these different things that, I was trying to handle in my practice. And I just needed simple programs to create a system for them. Simple programs that could take them through detox, cleansing, going grain free, being raw if needed, alkaline, and so that's how the birth of these programs, and especially the Revitalize, which was so much about shifting that perception, having those ebooks there that I could give my client to take them day by day through powerful shifts and changes in their life of putting themselves first, really understanding food and portions, and understanding that there needs to be movement in life. So anyway, that's why I created these programs, and they really have given me a clear system. I'm a proud, wife, mama. I do help other coaches similar to myself who are solo entrepreneurs. I don't think you have to be one forever. You sure as heck are going to build your business more strategically when you can get out of that solo entrepreneur mode and work with other people and hire people. But most people are like myself. They don't come to the table with a crap load of money. You're in that solo entrepreneur mode. I know I was. We lost everything in the stock market time. We didn't lose everything in the stock market. Our business was related to that, and we lost everything, so we didn't have that. So I work with a lot of people who are doing it themselves. So if you're on the phone or on this call tonight and you're doing it yourself, congratulations. You may be feeling the pain and the blood, sweat, and tears, and that's all right, because once you learn how to do it, you never look back. No one can ever rob you of learning how to build out MailChimp campaigns or automation, or learn Dropbox, or fix problems. I actually had a problem this weekend with my own launch, and I was able to go in and fix 3/4 of it and hand off the rest of it to my web person. And I thought, wow, that's what empowerment is. So anyway, let's get into this phone call. All right, mastering your message. The biggest thing with mastering your message, and especially with done for you programs. So imagine you have done for you programs, whether you've bought mine or you're about to buy it. Think about, what is that message? What is who is the person that you want to be working with? So I always, when I'm writing an email, when I'm thinking about my sales funnel, and think right now as you're on this phone call, think about your sales funnel, because everyone who's bought this season, I've drilled into their mind. What is that sales funnel that you're walking your client or potential client? When they come to your site, even if you have an IN site, and I worked on one for 2 years, even if you're on an IN site or Wix or Weebly or WordPress, what is that experience that your client or potential client is walking through? Who, what, where, and why? Who are you helping? What problem are you solving? Where are you practicing? Is it online? Is it in person? And why are you doing this profession? So if you ask yourself those questions all the time, you're going to master your message. Now, if you think about your message, I always say to myself, same message. From the beginning, it was that I worked with people who had digestion issues, autoimmune, candida, bacterial issues, like all these issues that were my own issues. The problem is, in the beginning, and I wish I had, and food allergies and adrenal fatigue, wish I had kept my story in the beginning, because in the beginning, I so clearly mastered my message. And people always ask me, how did you have so many clients in the beginning? Because my story was so crisp and clear about each of one of those issues. So people went and they read my story. They found me from my IN site. I blogged from day one. So if you're sitting on this tonight and you're thinking, I can't blog, that's why every one of, you see, Rockstar that we have, Paleo, Revitalize has 39 blog posts. There's always blog posts, because yes, we all feel scared to write that first blog, but I blogged from the beginning, and people would find me and they would read my story. And I got clients because of that story. I moved away from that because people would say, well, what's candida? What's digestion issues? I moved away from that story into a different, which was working with people who had really, lost their way and got into this diet mayhem, because I was finding that so many people were coming to me with weight issues. That was where I moved, because I found that my niche was actually coming. It was showing up for me. So if you're sitting there saying to yourself, what does that mean? Sometimes we come out of school and we say, you know what? It's so clear to me. I want to work with people who have thyroid issues. And that might be you sitting here on the phone saying, this was my story. I had thyroid issues. Or you may be sitting here on the phone saying, I do have weight issues, or I do have autoimmune. Whatever your specific story is right now, that message, you may have a niche that shows up for you and actually defines your message, just like that for weight. What ended up happening, and this is where I'm going to show you the multiple ways, is that message then is where I redefined my story. And what I realized over the years is that my story actually started to shift back to redefining autoimmune and digestion. Because what happened? All of a sudden, this message of detoxification, cleansing, going grain-free, and autoimmune started to trend. So Alejandro Younger, JJ Virgin, Liz Lipsky, Donna Gates, all of a sudden these names became popular names. Josh Axe. These weren't anymore or Paul Pitchford, or, many of the names that we all know. These weren't anymore just names that maybe you saw at Whole Foods. These were names that were out there on CBS or ABC, people that were actually getting interviewed by pretty mainstream people. Mark Hyman was all of a sudden a mainstream person. So this is what we started to see. So all of a sudden, my niche, my message was able to diverge back to my original message. So when you think about marketing in multiple ways, people who buy the detox program, a lot of people who've been stuck in seasons past, and I've watched so many people say to me, I only got 1, 2, or 3 people to sign up. And I said, well, why? And they're like, well, I marketed it as a detox. I'm like, do any of your people even know what a detox program is? And they say no. I'm like, then why did you market it? So let's even just think about this right now. One thing when you think about marketing a detox program is you actually want to think about, does this word actually work for me? Should I actually call this a cleanse? One of the reasons that we take the time to put this into a clean eating version is that is a word that was trending. And when I say trending, you want to start to look not just what's trending in New York. If you don't live in New York or LA or, a city, a major city, or the country that you live in, look in what's popular words in where you live, especially if you're not doing this online. If you are doing this online, look at the very people. Start to study the people, which is why we have opt-in freebies. I always tell people, test your message. Look at the very things that people are liking on your page. So whenever you have a program or you're about to market a program, you want to actually go onto your Facebook page. And this is something I did a few weeks ago because I'm shifting back into my original message, which was that you actually want to detoxify your life. You actually want to shift. You want to be able to digest the very thoughts and presence, of your being, and also how to deal with an autoimmune. So I wanted to test people on my Facebook, and I said, hello tribe. And this is something I encourage you to do, because what I'm doing is I'm taking the paleo program and the detox program, and I'm going to combine and make, a signature program for people. And I'm going to walk them step by step through what I do in my own life. And yes, am I perfect? No, everyone knows that. Do I have an autoimmune? Yeah. Does it kick my ass sometimes? Hell yeah. Especially when I burn myself into the ground. And many people know I'm not one of those Zen mamas. I don't do a lot of breathing. But I'm very honest about that. And, I wanted to say to people, would you be interested if I shared this program with you? And what happened? I got 140, likes and 87 comments, and was able to put a sign up form right there from MailChimp saying, if you want more interest. So when you take a program, I'm not going to market this and say that it's a detox. I'm not going to market this and say it's a cleanse. So when you actually take one program and you start to test your market and you say, what actually would this be? So you could actually take one program and you could, call it a cleanse, could call it a reboot, could call it a reset. You don't even have to call it anything. You could actually, name it your own program. Name it whatever you desire to name it. Naming a program is just about you looking at the very needs of your clients and also at your own marketing materials or also at your own needs and saying, what do I really need? One of the reasons that we added the doTERRA upgrade was that a lot of people have, essential oils and they needed a transition program for their oil people to get to know oils. So half the people don't even call it a detox. It's just their oil introduction education program. So if you're a Beachbody person, if you're a sauna person, if you, whatever you do, if you make your own, face cream, this can just be your program that you're actually introducing people. So when you think about using this in multiple ways, I use this just as, an elimination program for anybody who comes into my one-on-one business. My one-on-one clients all get some form of this because who shouldn't know how to do contrast showers? Who shouldn't know how to do tongue scraping or skin brushing or shouldn't have, clean eating recipes instead of me actually sending people off to Alana's Pantry or Josh Acts for recipes? So when you have something like the paleo program, why is AIP or GAPS or, so many of, grain-free lifestyles so important? Well, one thing with the paleo program that I was so inspired to create is that I've had so many clients who came to me who were so sick because they had been introduced and put on a paleo program that was so fat rich, loaded with bacon, loaded with so many nuts, and just their liver was toxic. Their gallbladder was toxic. They could not digest foods properly. And so they didn't fit necessarily just in the AIP. They didn't necessarily fit just in GAPS. And this is so many of my clients, as I'm sure so many of your heads are shaking and going, yeah, oh my God, I really get that, because none of our clients, just like us, fit into that one program. I didn't. I know that I went to doctor after doctor, geneticist after geneticist, biochemist after biochemist, spent over 100 grand. I mean, if you could see the amount of tests I've done, I never fit into that one perfect test. If I did, I would have no health issues. But that wasn't the case. And none of our clients do either, which is why I always say I have an arsenal. Now, I don't have every different program out there. I've learned to stay specific, give my clients seasonal foods to help their bodies cleanse and to also take them through a system. Cleanse when you come to see me doesn't mean that you're going to cleanse for the whole entire time, but I'm going to support your body, then move you to a grain-free program, and then move you to higher glycemic, still allergy-friendly foods, which would be the 28-day program. So the paleo program, you don't have to say paleo. This is just grain-free, allergy-friendly foods. But remember, when you're thinking about this, how do you market? Will you market, for people that have, thyroid issues? And we're never making claims. I love when I see this everywhere where people make claims. We never want to get ourselves in trouble, especially if, let me just pull this up, and I hear Facebook somewhere. Oops. So let's just go to nutrition advocacy. Give this 1 second. Okay. Oh. Okay. So especially, and this is something that I want all of you to be looking at constantly. This is nutritionadvocacy.org. I talk about this all the time. I'm going to do an entire webinar on this. But if you're in a red, orange, or yellow state, you have to be very careful. You should not say meal plan. You even should not have, I don't care, even in a green state, there should not be the word nutrition. Unless you just say integrative, I went to the school for Institute for Integrative Nutrition. We want to make sure we're protecting ourselves. It's very sad that this is the case. This is not to alarm you or scare you or anything. This is why in all the programs, I give everyone a disclaimer so that you can put on your site to just say that you're not acting as a doctor or a dietitian or a nutritionist or anything. But you want to make sure that, with each of these programs, you're not saying that you are making claims. You're not, this is not a thyroid program that you can rid somebody of their thyroid issues. That's why when you're marketing your programs, think of words that can really help people to, one, understand you. Because what did I go back to that beginning? How did I get 5 clients this week? Because I went back to some of my core messaging. I started talking about mono meals in the last 2 weeks because I had something happen in the last 2 weeks that just really upset me, got me really upset. And when that happens, my autoimmune just comes out, and my stress levels go a little high, my cortisol goes a little high, and my digestion goes off. And when that happens, it brings me back to my core because I have to slow down. I have to get quiet. And it also reminded me, I said, who do I want to be? Who do I want to serve? And so I realized this is what I'm about. Autoimmune, going grain-free, empowering people, being raw, up until like 4 or 5 in the day. What does my life embody? And so when you sit there and you ask yourself, what does your coaching embody? This is how you want to start thinking, how can Done For You programs? Done For You programs, they aren't about you fitting into a cookie cutter. Coaches always say, well, I tried to market it like this. It's like, it's not what it's about. It's about you actually taking this and molding it into you. And often we don't even know what that is. I have tons of coaches email me and say, I bought your program. I didn't know what to do with it, but I just launched it. And now I know who I am. And it's not about taking my words. It's about actually figuring out who you are. So, with any program, anyway, whether it's Revitalize or Paleo, the cool thing about Revitalize is that Revitalize actually has 2 programs within it. You have a vegetarian option in the 28-day and an omnivore. In the weight loss, you have a vegan and an omnivore. So no matter the bio-individuality of your client, you can appeal to different niches and sub-niches. So whether you want to say clean eating, family friendly, mommy makeover, detox your life, detox your kitchen, a reset, start thinking about different ways that you can take one program, market it 5 ways. So if you're thinking about taking Revitalize, I took Revitalize, I took the weight loss program. That weight loss program is a mom's program. That mom's program is also now an online mom's program that is matched with a fitness instructor. That same weight loss program is also a mom's reboot that I have. Also, Revitalize is part of an online program that I have that isn't even on my site. That's a program for digestion and revitalizing your life. I also have that 2-week weight loss program as just a standard weight loss program that I give every one of my clients when they first start with me. So any way that you think about taking one program and marketing it, you could take the detox, market that as a clean eating, and 2 months later, market that as a detox. Same program, revamping it. And if you had Revitalize with it, all of a sudden with the handouts in Revitalize, you're giving handouts um, on the snacks, the vegan proteins. You're giving handouts. You could actually add in the juice cleanse, from the juice cleanse from the Rockstar. You could actually add in, opt-in freebies, and all of a sudden have a totally different program and reshape and re-amend, and then all of a sudden leverage. So the whole thing about buying programs, and when I say to people, did you use opt-in freebies? And they're like, no. I'm like, why not? That's how you leverage a program and reshape it to look like a different program. And also attract a different person. So you might have a person that really is about weight loss. That's what they're about. Then you have a totally different person that isn't about weight loss, and they're about shifting mindset. So you have one that's detox. It's that you're really hitting them on the physical part of detox, talking about sugar cleanse. That's what they're really about. They're about to go in the summer. And then 2 months later, you're partnering that with Revitalize, and you have a 6-week program where you're taking them step by step through ebooks and combining that with, with either the weight loss portion or taking them with the cleanse and Revitalize. So, or you're actually taking the cleanse and just partnering that 2 weeks later with 2 weeks of group coaching, so that you're really working first on the mindset and then the cleanse, and you have a 4-week program, but you're just reshaping it. Does everyone get this? And if you have questions right now, please ask them, because this isn't just about me, talking to everyone about done for you programs. This is really about helping you to understand that there's so much opportunity. And often we just are so busy in our business. I was talking to a coach today about this. She and I have known each other for a long time, and she was like, I'm so ready to start my online business. I'm just so busy with one-on-one, and I teach. And I said to her, it's the same thing. We often get so busy in our business that it does get really confusing how to use programs. So somebody's asking, does it get confusing for people to go on our site when we offer too many programs? It's a great question. I think when we offer too many programs on our site, it does get confusing, which is why we really look at our season, and we say, when are we offering programs? And every program does not have to be on our site, meaning that we can have a landing page that is only specific for a certain amount of time. And so you might have a standard, program. For example, say a detox, or say the paleo program that stays there all year round. And so maybe you launch, people know that you launch either a clean eating program or a reset. One of the people I interviewed was Alex Jamieson. She's awesome. She is in one of the bonuses this season, and she has just this amazing reset, this cleanse, and she offers it every season. Holly Thompson, another person I interviewed, she does an amazing cleanse that she offers every season. There are a lot of people that have those staple programs that never leave their site, same as myself. So you might have that staple program that never leaves your site, but then have other programs that come in, like paleo, or like a 6-week, program that is more of your VIP signature program. So you have a gateway, and then you have your higher level program. I wouldn't go, I wouldn't have like 6 programs. I wouldn't even go past 3. I think when you go past 3, it gets confusing for people. You want to think gateway. you want to think signature, and you want one-on-one. And remember, our online programs, especially, are to give people sneak peek views into what working with us would be like. Done for you programs also can boost up your work with me. So for me, example, my work with me page, I'm going to be revamping that so that it really speaks to the program. So when they work with me, and I talked about this actually in one of the phone calls that I did the other day. There's a coach that when you see her work with me page, all of her online programs are included. So it says when you work with me, not only do you get 2 50-minute sessions, but you get access to my signature, 6-week, program that has X number of recipes. And so it really boosts up that work with me so that when somebody's reading that, they're like, oh yeah, my God, I'm going to call this coach because I'm getting access to this program. And so they see that, they're not just getting X times with you or, X sessions. They're really understanding what this step-by-step system is. Somebody's asking that I said the 28 days higher glycemic foods in the paleo is grain-free. Can I give a description of a few words for each program? So I always say the 28-day is higher glycemic because there are some recipes that have quinoa. There are some recipes that have a gluten-free macaroni, pasta. There are gluten-free pancakes in there. There are some gluten-free recipes, all allergy-friendly. So those would be, that would be higher glycemic compared to a grain-free program, just because often grains have higher glycemic index compared to some of the recipes in paleo. Again, you would have to go sugar to sugar because sometimes fruits, if we're talking about like ketogenic kind of, a ketogenic kind of diet, you'd have to look actually at sugar versus fiber to really be able to break this down into glycemic index for a person. But often paleo would be lower glycemic index just because of the type of foods and the recipes. So often, one of the reasons that I actually created the weight loss portion for the Revitalize is because in the 28-day, I was seeing that a lot of the people who were transitioning from my cleanse or my detox, they were still in that insulin resistance place after 2 weeks. They weren't ready to transition yet to maybe quinoa or maybe, even gluten-free pancakes. They needed that next place program. And that's why for so long, I was like, I have to create this paleo program because I was sending them off to paleo recipes. And so many of them were, as I said, not ideal for my type of client because my type of client has Crohn's, colitis, digestive issues, autoimmune. And so I needed that in-between program. And that is where the weight loss program came in with Revitalize. But I always say to people, I give them examples. And I also, like to, when I'm talking about marketing, especially, for phone calls or even on sales pages or even, just on social media, I like to show people recipes. I don't give everything away for free like on Facebook, but I will show somebody a recipe and say, this is what I made today. This is going to be part of, my next program. Somebody's asking, when I work with a client one-on-one and they buy a specialty program, do I need to revamp a program specific to their needs? That is a great that's a great question. So the way that I use done for you programs is if somebody is working with me one-on-one, my done for you programs are on my site. So somebody will actually see a program and they'll call me. And then they'll say, I'm thinking about buying your detox or I'm thinking about this program. And I actually will say to them, let's talk about this. It sounds like, there might be some other issues going on. And most often that is the case, as we know with our clients. So most often that leads to a one-on-one client. So I use my online programs to get one-on-one clients because, for me, that's where my business actually thrives. My online business is more, as you guys see, with done for you programs, but my one-on-one business, and I love this, is really working, with people to get healthy with their autoimmune. I love working with teenagers, love working with kids, and I do work with coaches, of course, one-on-one for their business and their health. But I most often have to revamp any program specific for a person. But I use them as the foundation, and then add in whatever, whatever, whatever changes we've made, whether it's, oils that we're adding, or, supplementation that we're adding, or anything, that we're adding for specifically for that person. So I always say done for you programs, people are kind of shocked, and I almost wanted to, on the sales page, post just one of my receipts, from my designer, actually, because just, one of the programs, and I think I remember actually having like, a jaw drop when I got quoted for like one ebook. And it was like one ebook was like, 50 pages was like $250. And I was like, oh my God. So, done for you programs, like people always are kind of, some even get pissed off, like, wow, $147 for the detox. And I explain to people like, that's actually me shutting my life down to write, the seasonal programs and go through edits and create them. And so the paleo is not seasonal, Revitalize is not seasonal. The detoxes are seasonal, and they're rewritten, brand new, everything from basic and rockstar, all the extra goodies. And they really, they give you a system. They gave me a system. They still to this day give me a platform. I know I wouldn't have had the success that I've had, without them, or the exposure or the visibility. I've been very, lucky to have that. And they have allowed me also to nail down my niche. Detox and everything was always part of my life because it was part of what I had to do to get better. But I didn't wake up and say, oh, I'm going to just specialize in detox and cleanse. I actually was just so inspired by people who I admire, like Paul Pitchford and Alejandro Younger, and Mark Hyman, who wasn't even doing detox at the time, but and other people who aren't so well known, who really have created programs and put them out there. As I said, Donna Gates was doing this kind of work at a time that nobody even knew about her. Nobody, Anne Louise Gittleman was talking about food combining when nobody even was talking about it. So, so anyway, let's get back to even marketing your message. Nailing down your niche. I want everyone, even tonight, I have whiteboards everywhere. Really think about 5 words. So even, 5 words, whether you're going to buy the programs tonight, and think, okay, what 5 words do I need to do to speak to my niche? And you might not know who your niche is. And, for a lot of us, whether we're new coaches or existing coaches, or we're rebranding, we have to think of, what are these words and what are these new words, especially if we're rebranding. So think about, what are these words that speak to your niche? Take out a pen right now. Is it weight loss? Is it freedom? Is it empowerment? Is it digestive issues? Is it, and then when you think about it, like, is it acid reflux? But what is the pain behind acid reflux? Is it the fact that you have a burning chest? Is it the fact that you feel, that you feel exhausted? Is it the fact that you can't even eat without fear? Like, what is actually going on? So when we talk about marketing different programs, what is the experience? Don't just say, well, lose 5 pounds. That's bullshit. Excuse my language. But that doesn't get our program sold. That doesn't market our message. What is the feeling that somebody will get when they go through your program and work with you? Because that is what in the last few weeks I've gone back to. It's if somebody works with me or they buy a program from me, how can I walk them through this journey back to health or building their business? How can I empower somebody to get out of the feeling of being stuck and feeling broken to a place where they aren't? So that's what I want you to think about tonight. In your business right now, what do you do? Why do you do it? And how can you help people? And where do you want to start? So when you're thinking about, starting online, or you're thinking about marketing your message, I think often somebody's asking about how do I connect with people online? Don't be scared to start speaking up. I actually, in the forum, and I'm running them totally different right now, where we're like task oriented, like, okay, everyone's going on Instagram and like start to really own your program, because we can buy until our eyes turn purple and pop out of our head. And that would be a pretty picture. But when you actually step in and own your programs, that's when you walk into your niche. That's when you step into your story. So, how do I actually, find people online? It's when you actually start stepping into your story and start speaking your truth. And, I will tell you something. Sometimes people don't like my stuff on Facebook, or I don't know what they're liking, or Instagram, or all that. But people are watching you. I've had people email me and say, I've watched you for a year. That's 365 days. 365 days, my friend. People are watching you all the time. It's just when we're scared to speak our truth. So my problem will be if I don't put all of my passion into this program in the next week and get this baby put together, because I wrote my sales page all from my heart. Not a copy person, me. So my screw up will be if I don't put my heart and my soul into this program that I've always wanted to and been scared to do, because it was really putting all that love into it and my true authentic self. So done for you programs and all of this, it's just your building block and your foundation. But you then put the magic together and squeeze the few different programs into your own voice. And what comes out of it is your divine glory. I know that sounds so woo-woo, but I almost feel like when I was in school with Dr. Morse, he would say, just get out of the ego stops you. The way shower has no ego. That's when you just go, I'm going for it. And it took me the longest time. It took me feeling broken in a few places, exhausted. And even it took me two of my young clients with some pretty severe autoimmune to bring me back to this place of seeing, why am I doing this? And I think we all have these times in our business where we go, why am I doing this? I've got to get back to my why. And I'm so blessed for that, because, my why will be putting this program together and going for it. So is it weight loss for you? Is it autoimmune? Is it digestive health? Is it waking? Is it weight loss for the beginner? Is it cleansing for the beginner? Is it allergies? Is it mama reboot? Is it adrenal fatigue gone easy? What is it? And it doesn't have to be complicated. Don't overthink. Somebody said to me the other day, person I coach said, everyone's asking me for weight loss, but I'm so not a weight loss person. I said, if they're asking, shame on you if you don't give. It doesn't have to be complicated. So this is the thing. If we go back to here, and yes, please we're going to look at that. If we go here, this is just your opportunity. These are all the different programs. Basic, Rockstar, doTERRA, Paleo, and Revitalize. You have every different opportunity, and they're really, I mean, when I tell you, like, I think this is one of my favorite seasons so far. I always say that, but I mean, we really do. We listen to you guys, and we really, we listen and then we make changes. But all the PowerPoint presentations, they can be converted right into PDF. The opt-in freebies. I mean, this 4-day mini cleanse, you could actually sell that just as an on-the-go cleanse for really busy people, because that's a 4-day mini cleanse that's a beast just in and of itself. And all of these have their own follow-ups. So, I mean, there are so many different opportunities. This Launch Pro Kit, that is amazing. This has all of these different materials in there. So, and trust me, I believe that we all need that Launch Pro Kit. That's why it's in the Paleo. That's why it's in the Rockstar. But why should you rock it out this season? You should rock it out any season. But you should rock out done for you programs because they give you a building block. They give you that foundation. And so when you sit there and say, how am I going to market my message? You buy a program, or you buy two, but you buy one, and then you think how you can reframe that message over and over. And you use that message. So if somebody didn't buy, with detox, or you're using the wrong message, use it in a few different ways. Test it before you even launch your program. Because if you're not testing out your niche on social media, you're the one losing out. So again, your sales funnel. Always go back to your sales funnel. Always make sure that you're keeping it really simple, testing your market. And the one thing that we are doing, if you buy in the next 48 hours, we are going to give you an opt-in freebie, an extra one, no matter what program you buy, to build your list, because you have to build your list. You can't just throw a program. Please don't, whether you have mine or somebody else's, don't throw a program up and expect people to just buy. They're not. You have to put yourself out there. You have to blog. You have to create good content. People who have had really great success, they create an event. It may feel scary. They edit their materials. They get their stuff out there. I have even a client, the reason that we create the PDFs is so that you don't have to spend the time on the editing. You can just do the PDFs and freaking put it on Eventbrite, but get it out there so that you can go and market yourself and get your message out. So does anyone have any questions before we wrap up? Is everyone stoked? Because the one thing I do want to say, this is your opportunity before fall comes. Fall's when everyone rebrands. This is your opportunity in summer. It's the longest season to nail down your message, nail down who you're going to work with, and get clear on exactly your marketing online and offline. So yes, somebody's asking if we bought a program in the last week. People all know me. If you rolled with me at one time, I always gift everyone. So yes, if you bought something in the last week, I will upload that to the forum. Do not worry. And also, yes, if you have any questions ever like that, just let me know. But, I will just say this to everyone. The only thing that ever stops us is our message. And so if you've been sitting there on your Katudia and nobody's hiring you, it's not because of you. It's because your message is not clear. And I'm saying this like loud and clear. So start going on Facebook this week. marketing on your personal page, and not marketing like, outright like, hey, I've got, this program, but start teasing out to people, hey, I'm putting together this really great weight loss program, putting together this really great detox or cleanse, or I went grain free and lost 10 pounds. Would you be interested in this program? Tease it out. See if you have interest. I guarantee you will. That's how we sell programs. So whether you want to do it online, face to face, you want to do a pajama party at your house and call it a pajama party and do it in Saturday afternoon and have lots of people over and charge for a fun pajama party smoothie day and sell a program for detox, that's how you market in a different way. So think outside of the box. Don't stay within the box. That's not how we support ourselves as health or wellness professionals. That's how we do this as a second job. So it's been a pure honor to be with you guys. Oh, I'm going to answer a few more questions. Okay, so somebody's asking price points. What should we charge for programs and not done for programs? That's a great question. Everyone's got different price points. One, I always say, just like when I sold real estate, they always say, look in your backyard. When I sold commercial real estate in Philly commercial real estate prices was going to be different. And I sold online and that was even, years ago when it wasn't really an online, I sold, triple net in other cities because we had a national company. So nobody really considered it online. I just sold in other, cities. So what was selling in Philly, well, somebody could get a triple net, or a shopping center in another city or in Kentucky at a different price. So when you're selling, done for you programs online, start to also look what is the standard, rate kind of in your area online. Also consider what are you offering, but then in your one-on-one, know your worth. In the last 2 weeks, I also did this and I encourage you all. Write down your boundaries for your work. Write down what you're going to charge, one-on-one, and also when you're going to increase your prices. Charge what you're worth and really step into that power. How do you have a minimum for how many months you're going to work with somebody? So price points as to what you should charge for your programs. I think that it's really how much you should charge one-on-one. And then if you are doing the done for you programs, like figure out whether it's online or figure out whether it's whether you're charging, per hour. And if it's charging per hour, like you're actually working with somebody, that would just be your hourly rate. How many followers do you think one needs to make a minimum on this investment? That's a great question. To be honest, I've seen people who've come in with 0 people and they didn't even think that they would get like 11 to sign up. I've watched them go through, a forum and say, I have nobody. And then all of a sudden they have 20. So I think there's not about minimum followers. I think it's about buying a program and really following the steps where it's, editing a sales page, whether it's on IN, Eventbrite, telling people that you're doing a program, they've got a really fun program, getting excited. When people see that you're excited about something, they want to sign up. That's contagious. People don't want to buy just a book because most people don't follow just a book. They want to sign up with you because they get excited that they can actually follow and get supported by somebody. So I don't think it's a minimum of followers. We all have followers on Facebook. I know a lot of people don't spend a lot of energy on their business page. They actually spend more energy, like myself, on their personal page than their business page. So I think as long as we have support in our community, or we have our local health food store, or we have an acupuncturist or a massage therapist, or somewhere that we can say, hey, can I do a workshop? Do you mind, or can I come and do, a healthy food shopping tour? Or we can say to our friends or colleagues or anybody, hey, guys, can I get some support? Some of us have that. I did not. I had moved to Florida and I had nobody that I even knew. So I had to rely online. But a lot of us have people that we could even gift like even family members or friends and say, here's a program, to our family, can you help me out? So I don't think that we have to, I think that's a lot of our problems, that we think we have to buy a program and have a certain amount of followers to start our business. Otherwise, we don't start our business. So I think a big thing is actually taking a leap and saying, I'm going to start this, and really thinking, how can I get this done? And how can I actually get a weight loss program or a cleanse, off the ground, by just putting it out there, in a way that's cohesive, not just saying, hey, I've got this, but in a way that's cohesive. So it really looks attractive to somebody who would want to sign up with you and get your support. So was that helpful for everyone to kind of go through those different points? Okay, so just want to say thank you. It's always just a complete honor and pleasure. I think as coaches, we really get not only stuck, but I think we get into information overload. Just like with our clients, there's so many diet books. There's so much information on the internet, and I think as coaches, we get scared. We think there's so many coaches, so much on the internet. Why would somebody want to hire me? Well, why would they not want to hire you? Because there's so much information. So get out of that mode of operation, and at least if you have bought the programs, take just one. Start in just one place. If you haven't bought the programs and you do have questions, you can email me. I'll just put my email right here. You can email me at info, or if you want to email me tonight so I get it. And you can always email me through my site too. Oops, let me just move that over. You can email me through my site at www.rachelswellness.com. You can ask me any questions about the programs, ask me what they're like, or you can also go onto the site and you can see the sneak peek. So they're really fun. I think the most fun that we have is probably in the forum, because I would say getting an opportunity to be with people in a non-competitive nature is, I think, the most incredible opportunity that I've seen. And somebody's asking, how much is the summer program? If you go to detox.Rachel's Wellness, the basic is $147. The Rockstar Detox, or the basic detox, you have two options. The basic is $147. The Rockstar is $327. And then you have the Paleo, which is $327. Again, that is not seasonal. And then Revitalize, which is $597. And then if you buy a combination of any of the detox or Revitalize, there is a discount. So, but you can always email me. Like I said, I'm here. My assistant's always here to ask any questions. The doTERRA upgrade, there's also an option for that. So yes, there are so many options. I know, one sales page with so much information. So if you have any questions, just reach out. I try to be here, try to make myself available. But I don't want to keep you guys any longer. So yes, like I said, in the next 48 hours, if you buy, I will opt in, so you can build your list and get the clients you deserve. All right, guys, rock it out with your message. Write down your 5 keywords and don't be scared to put your message out there. All right, I'll talk to you guys soon. Take it easy. Bye.